You're actually not supposed to be able to see the entire clavicle like that, and the acromion process, which connects the clavicle here on the end. You're not supposed to be able to see that or to feel it being very prominent.
Why is everyone in Hollywood right now so skinny?
Yes, the Oscars were so fun. Quick question, was I supposed to see that many people's bones? Was that like a part of the night? Was that supposed to be like a new thing? Like how many ligaments and tendons can you see in one person's body at once?
Why do all of these celebrities look sick?
A culture fixated on female thinness is not an obsession about female beauty, but an obsession about female obedience. Dieting is the most potent political sedative in history. A quietly mad population is a tractable one.
Have you noticed it too? Pull up any red carpet from the last year, and then go back and find one from 5 or 10 years ago. Put them side by side. And I don't mean the dresses or the cameras getting sharper, I mean the women. Because somewhere along the way, the most famous women in the world stopped looking like 100 different people and started looking like one. The same hair, the same softly snatched face, the same quiet little half smile, the same gentle, careful voice in every single interview. It's like someone took every actress, every singer, every it girl you grew up watching, and slowly sanded the edges off, one by one, until they all fit the exact same mold. And here's the part that genuinely unsettled me. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it, and it goes so much deeper than how they look. The women who used to be the loudest in the room, gone quiet, the ones with the biggest, most unforgettable personalities, they have the smallest ones now. The bold opinions, the messy charm, the spark, switched off. So today we're going to talk about what's really happening to these women, because this is not a beauty trend, it is something much stranger and honestly much sadder than that. We're going to trace exactly how we got here, who's quietly profiting from it, and what it's teaching an entire generation of girls who are watching. And number 5, the part about why this is happening right now, is the one almost nobody is willing to say out loud. So stick with me to the end, let's get into it. Let's start with the part you can see with your own 2 eyes. Everyone looks the same now. There is a look that has completely swallowed the internet.
I wanted to hop on here and talk about my theory on Instagram face.
The slicked back bun, the dewy, almost wet-looking skin, the neutral outfit without a single drop of color in it, the same lip, the same brow, the same softly contoured face. We even have a name for it, the clean girl, and it is everywhere. Scroll for 30 seconds and it genuinely feels like one woman cloned herself 1,000 times and handed every copy a slightly different iced matcha. And the engine driving all of it is a tiny handful of mega influential women, whose reach is honestly hard to even put into words. Look at Hailey Bieber. One afternoon, she casually films herself chewing on a little disposable toothbrush, and within a week, that exact toothbrush is sold out in stores. She applies her moisturizer with a comb for a photo shoot, clearly just for the aesthetic. And the next morning, the internet is full of women combing lotion onto their faces, frustrated that it's not sitting as perfectly as hers did. Strawberry milk makeup, glazed donut nails, the phone case with the little lip gloss holder, slicked back hair coming back into fashion. Over and over, one woman moves and millions move with her. Her brand sold out in days and was eventually worth a fortune. And she did it not by sharing ideas or art or a point of view, but by selling an aesthetic. Now sit with what that actually means. We no longer have 1,000 different women to look up to. We have one template, copied, filtered, and repeated 1,000 times. And the moment a culture agrees on a single template for what a woman is supposed to be, it becomes very, very easy to start measuring every woman against it, to start noticing who fits and who doesn't. That's the door this opens. But before we walk through it, before the bodies, before any of it, let's talk about how we even got here. Because, and I promise you this is the key to the whole story, it was not always like this. If you grew up in the 2000s, you remember how brutal it was. That era was savage to women. There were entire magazines that existed almost purely to zoom in on a celebrity's body and circle the smallest, most ordinary thing like it was evidence at a crime scene. Movies couldn't go 5 minutes without a cruel joke at some woman's expense. It was a genuinely cold, mean time to be a girl with a body and a fragile sense of self. Think of the tabloid covers. Think of how Britney, Paris, Lindsay, Jessica Simpson were picked apart on a daily basis for sport. But here's the strange and important thing. Stay with me, because this matters for everything that comes next. Even back then, with all that cruelty, those women had personality. You could tell them apart instantly. They had distinct styles, distinct energy, distinct opinions. They were loud, they were messy, they said the wrong thing, and they lived through it. Love them or hate them, you knew exactly who each one was. Then came the 2000s, and the loud era hit overdrive. This was the unapologetic age. The women dominating culture were the ones up at 2 a.m. firing off opinions, starting beef on Twitter, refusing to be quiet. Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, the whole girl boss moment was born right here. Big personalities, big presence, big noise, and the look matched it. This was the curvy, hourglass, larger-than-life ideal, which, by the way, came with its own quiet cruelty, because the look it demanded often required surgery most women could never afford, all while being sold to them as, just do some squats and drink this detox tea. And then, somewhere around 2015, 2016, something genuinely hopeful happened. The pendulum swung the other way, hard. Body positivity arrived. Suddenly, there were all kinds of women on magazine covers, at Fashion Week, in the campaigns. Self-love was the message. Lizzo was making music that was nothing but, love the body you're in. For the first time in a long time, the internet almost felt kind. Celebrities started posting without makeup, crying on live streams, being honest about their mental health, being real, and people loved them more for it, not less. So we had it. We genuinely had it for a minute. A culture that was finally letting women be loud, be different, be flawed, be human. And then, somewhere between about 2020 and right now, it all quietly disappeared. And the wild part is that almost nobody noticed it leaving the room. Here's the most visible symptom of the shift, and I'm going to handle this one with real care because it matters. If you watch the award shows now, there is a pressure in the air that you can feel through the screen. A pressure on women to take up less space, to be smaller, to shrink down, and almost vanish. And it is not being sold to us as a struggle. That's the trick of it. It's being sold as wellness, as discipline, as a glowy, effortless, expensive little lifestyle. The matcha, the Pilates, the perfect morning routine, the clean everything. When underneath it, a lot of these women are quietly carrying something much heavier than a smoothie. And there's a new twist now, isn't there? There are these new weight loss treatments.
People are raving about a new way to lose weight. Ozempic was originally developed to help patients manage diabetes. Then people and drug companies saw a beneficial side effect. It also helped with weight loss.
You know, the ones everyone's whispering about that have made all of it feel casual, almost normal. Something that used to take years of quiet suffering now seems to happen in a single season, and everyone's expected to smile and credit it to Pilates and intuitive eating. So the goalpost slides. The women who were already small are pushed to get smaller. The bar for what counts as thin keeps quietly moving, and the whole culture agrees to act like we're not supposed to mention what is plainly happening in front of us. I want to be crystal clear about something, because it's the entire point of this section, and it's why I'm not going to sit here and turn it into a list of names. This is not an aspiration. This is not a goal to chase, and these women are not a before and after. What we are watching is a pressure being applied to women, wrapped up in pretty, healthy-sounding language, and the people it harms the most aren't even the famous ones. It's the young girls watching at home, quietly learning that the reward for making yourself smaller is to be loved more. That is the lie at the center of all of this, and it is a cruel one. So no, I'm not here to put anyone's body on screen and rank it. I'm here to talk about the machine that's squeezing all of them into the same narrow shape. Because here is the twist that flips this entire conversation on its head. It is not just their bodies that are shrinking, it's everything else too. This is the chapter that genuinely changed how I watch a red carpet. Think about the most famous women in the world right now. Really think. What do they believe? What's their opinion on anything that matters? What is their actual personality underneath the aesthetic? For a startling number of them, you can't answer that. And it's not because they're empty people. I'm sure they're rich, complicated, interesting humans. It's because the version they are allowed to show us is almost entirely surface. Here's my skincare. Here's my beautiful kitchen. Here's the $18 smoothie you can buy. And that's it. That's the whole offering. Now hold that next to the women we grew up adoring. Remember Emma Stone? There's that famous quote where someone described her as a shot of espresso, like being bathed in sunlight. Bubbly, sharp, hilarious, a personality that jumped right through the screen and made every interview a joy. Go watch her now. Reserved, careful, the smallest number of words possible, and a polite, closed little smile. That spark didn't just fade on its own. Something taught her to fold it up and put it away. And we know exactly how it happens because we did it ourselves in real time.
Actress Emma Stone, I think, looks absolutely wonderful. She might have had some collagen-preserving treatments like Gold Therapy, Sculptra, VS8, maybe some lasers, and she's probably doing a lot of lasers and collagen-stimulating treatment.
Take Jennifer Lawrence. For years, she was the most beloved person in Hollywood. Funny, self-deprecating, always cracking jokes, refreshingly human. And then, almost overnight, for no real reason, the internet collectively decided she was too much. The mocking became a sport. There were sketches making fun of her whole personality, and it worked. She basically went into hiding for years. When she finally came back, she came back quiet, polished, guarded. And in interviews since, she's said she finds her old self cringe, that she winces watching old clips. Hear that again. We bullied a woman until she was embarrassed of the exact thing we used to love about her. And then we welcomed the smaller, dimmer version with open arms, which is the saddest part of all. We rewarded her for disappearing. So of course they went quiet. Of course the personalities got PR trained out of them. They watched what the culture does to women who refuse to shrink, and they made the safe choice. They got smaller in the one way no camera can measure on a red carpet. They got smaller on the inside. And then this same pressure crept into something even bigger, the kind of life women are being sold. Have you noticed that all the day in my life content quietly stopped? Leaving the house? It used to be travel, jobs, friends, chaos, the world. Now the dream being marketed is this very specific, very contained little life. The spotless home, the slow morning, the soft beige everything, the staying in. It is a pattern, and once you see it, you'll see it everywhere. Look at how public affection flipped from Selena Gomez to Hailey Bieber almost overnight. And ask yourself what the quieter, more contained, more aesthetic woman had in common with the moment we're describing. Look at Chappelle Rowan, adored for her boldness, who set one completely reasonable boundary about fans approaching her in public and got instantly branded ungrateful and difficult. The message to every famous woman watching could not be clearer. Be loud in a way that entertains us, fine. But the second you're loud in a way we don't like, the second you take up too much space, you are out. The biggest version of this is the trad wife trend, the traditional wife fantasy. Nara Smith built an enormous following filming herself making everything from scratch, gum, cereal, butter, you name it, in full glam, in a flowing dress, in this dreamy slow motion way. Ballerina Farm took it even further. She lives on a gorgeous farm, bakes sourdough from scratch, milks the cows, raises a whole house full of children, all of it shot in this golden, romantic, soft focus glow that makes it look like the most peaceful, simple, fulfilling life imaginable. And the comments fill up with women saying, I would trade everything for this. But here's what those videos quietly leave out, and it's a doozy. The husband behind one of the most famous of these farmhouse fantasies comes from enormous family wealth. His father founded a major airline. That charming, rustic stove that gives the whole simple life its aesthetic, it costs as much as a car. So that simple, humble life is not simple or humble at all. It's an extremely expensive life, costumed as a modest one. And look, there is nothing wrong with a woman choosing home, choosing to raise children, choosing a softer pace. That is not the point at all. The point is that it's being romanticized in a way that carefully hides how fragile it is, how completely it depends on a man's money continuing to show up on time, forever. The younger Gen Z remix of this is the stay-at-home girlfriend, and it's even more exposed.
TikTok has given us so many trends, it can be hard to keep up. But there is one viral hashtag that's spotlighting a movement that is having a moment. SAHG, stay-at-home girlfriends. This involves women with no children who keep house and let their boyfriends support them instead of focusing on their own careers.
Built entirely on someone else's goodwill, which can vanish the day he changes his mind. That is a genuinely vulnerable position to romance someone into. Smaller body, smaller voice, and now, smaller world. You're starting to see the shape of it, aren't you? And then there's the part that honestly makes me laugh first, and then makes me a little heartsick. Have you clocked how many viral trends lately are basically grown women performing being little children, and the women are doing it to themselves?
Almost any job you can think of has a day in the life video by someone on TikTok. Not every job is meant to have this type of content arc because these videos have gotten a lot of people fired from their jobs.
I love my job. I would have never done anything to jeopardize.
It started off genuinely funny. Girl dinner. Just posting the random pile of snacks you throw together when you can't be bothered to cook. Cute, relatable. We've all had a dinner that was honestly just crackers and a vibe. But then, like clockwork, the joke curdled. The dinners kept getting smaller and smaller until it stopped being a joke about being lazy and started being something else entirely, a quiet little competition over who could post the least. Then came girl math, at first a harmless gag about justifying a purchase.
And first, though, it's time for a bit of girl math.
Justify everything using girl maths half the time. I'm actually money wise, but sometimes the girl maths takes over. If it's cash, it's free. If it's not coming out of my bank account and I can't see it come out, it's free.
If I pay in cash, it's basically free. Fine, funny, we've all done the mental gymnastics, but it slowly twisted from I talk myself into buying lipstick into something closer to women are just bad with money, hee hee. And then I'm just a girl, where women excuse anything silly or careless with a little shrug to that Gwen Stefani song, which is wildly ironic because the real song is the exact opposite of how it's being used. The very next line after I'm just a girl is that's all you'll let me be. It's a song about rage, about being underestimated and boxed in and dismissed precisely because you're a woman. And we flattened it into, oops, I can't do basic tasks. I have a tiny girl brain. And it keeps escalating from there into stuff like turning my brain off around my boyfriend or coloring while my boyfriend's at his big boy job. And you have to stop and genuinely ask, what are we doing here? Why are capable, intelligent, grown women role-playing as helpless toddlers and packaging it as a personality? Because it lines up perfectly with everything else we've talked about. Tiny body, tiny voice, tiny life, and now a tiny, childlike, opinion-free, ambition-free sense of self. It is the same ideal woman every single time. She's just wearing a different outfit in each trend. Here's the question sitting underneath this entire video, and the answer is so much bigger than vanity. Look at the world all of this is happening inside of. Rising prices, money stress, a constant background hum of tighten your belt, do more with less, brace yourself. And history has a remarkably consistent rule. When a society gets anxious and scarce, the things it starts to admire quietly shift. Suddenly, the most prized qualities are restraint, control, discipline, needing less, wanting less, taking up less. So ask yourself, what does an extremely small, controlled, quiet, contained woman signal in a culture like that? She signals all of it. Self-control, low maintenance, efficiency, discipline. She becomes the living symbol of behave and want less. Nobody sends out an official memo ordering women to shrink. It doesn't work that crudely. It just seeps in through the trends and the beauty standards and the algorithm until women start quietly policing themselves and calling it self-improvement. And it lands hardest on women specifically because women's bodies and women's voices have always been the very first place a culture reaches when it wants to enforce its rules. We are taught from the time we're small that taking up space is a problem. Too loud, too much, too emotional, too ambitious, too needy. So when the whole culture starts whispering that smaller is safer, women's lives are exactly where that pressure shows up first and where it shows up loudest. And don't forget, somebody is profiting from every inch of this. Ask yourself why a normal, healthy, well-fed body is never ever the thing being sold to you. It's because nobody makes money off a woman who is content. The entire engine runs on dissatisfaction, on you feeling like you're not enough yet, so you'll keep buying the supplement, the treatment, the cream, the program, the subscription. A happy woman is a financial problem for a lot of very large industries. A woman who's quietly convinced she needs to fix herself is a customer for life. That's the real story here. Not celebrities found a new diet, it's a whole culture in an anxious and profitable moment, quietly teaching its women to disappear, and then applauding them when they do. And this is the part that genuinely keeps me up because it's the part that doesn't stay on a screen. None of this lives in a vacuum. There is a whole generation of girls growing up right now inside this, scrolling through it before bed, absorbing every quiet lesson it teaches. And the lessons are brutal when you lay them out plainly. That being smaller earns you more love. That having an opinion makes you too much. That your worth is something you have to keep shrinking yourself to deserve. That the safest, most admired thing a woman can be is quiet, contained, and easy to look at. A girl shouldn't be learning the language of restriction before she's learned how the world actually works. She shouldn't be more afraid of taking up space than of anything else in her life. And she definitely shouldn't be watching the most powerful, famous, accomplished women on earth model disappear quietly, and you'll be rewarded because she will copy it. That's what looking up to someone means. The women we grew up watching, for all the cruelty thrown at them, at least showed us 100 different ways to be a person. Loud ones, weird ones, messy ones, brilliant ones. The fear I have is that the girls coming up now are being shown exactly one, and being told, very gently and very constantly, that any deviation from it is a flaw. So where does all of this leave us? I think the first thing, honestly, the most powerful thing, is just being able to see it. Because the whole trap only works while it's invisible, while it's disguised as wellness, as discipline, as a cute aesthetic, as self-care, as that girl. The moment you can look at a red carpet or a perfect little morning routine and recognize the pressure instead of envying it, it loses an enormous amount of its grip on you. And then maybe the genuinely rebellious thing, the radical act in a world built like this, is to refuse to disappear. Take up space, be loud, be a little cringe. Have the opinion that makes someone uncomfortable. Wear the color, eat the food, and enjoy every bite of it. Be a whole, complicated, visible person. Because you do not have to make yourself smaller, your body, your voice, your dreams, your life, to be worthy of being loved. You never did. That was always the lie. The women we grew up watching were unforgettable because they were too much. Let's not be the generation that teaches the next one to aim for forgettable. And if any of this landed a little too close to home, for you or for a daughter, a sister, a friend you're worried about, please don't carry it quietly. There are people who genuinely know how to help with this. And reaching out is a strength, never a weakness. That's it from me today. If you saw yourself anywhere in this video, or if you're just tired of watching every famous woman flattened into the same quiet copy, come tell me in the comments. I read them, and I'd love to know which part hit hardest. Take care of yourselves out there, and don't you dare shrink.